Right now, something highly unusual is happening. Not obvious, not loud, but extremely dangerous. In finance, we call these anomalies, signals that don't fit the normal pattern. And when anomalies appear, it usually means something beneath the surface is breaking. For the past 50 years, oil and gold have rarely moved in the same direction. One rises, the other stabilizes, but today, both are moving at the same time. That's not random, that's a tripwire. A financial tripwire that 99% of people are already stepping into, without even realizing it. And once it's triggered, it doesn't just affect markets, it affects your money, your cost of living, your future. To understand what's happening, you need to understand one word: choke points. There are only a few places in the world where energy flows can be controlled, and one of the most critical is the Strait of Hormuz. Nearly 20% of the world's oil passes through that narrow corridor. If it gets disrupted, even partially, oil doesn't just rise, it explodes. And when oil hits extreme levels, it doesn't stay in the energy market, it spreads into everything. Transportation costs surge, supply chains tighten, and suddenly everyday life becomes more expensive. If oil holds above $150 for just 30 days, delivery costs could rise over 20%. Basic goods, food, groceries, become noticeably more expensive almost overnight. But here's the deeper problem. For decades, oil was traded in US dollars. That system gave the dollar power. But today, cracks are starting to appear. More countries are experimenting with alternative settlements. Some are even exploring gold-backed transactions. And if that trend accelerates, it doesn't just weaken the system. It directly impacts the purchasing power of every American household. And that's where history starts repeating itself, in a way most people don't expect.
We've seen this before. In 1973, Americans lined up for hours just to buy gasoline. In 2008, millions lost their homes. But 2026 could be different. Because this time, the pressure is hitting multiple systems at once. Energy, currency, debt. And when those three collide, the outcome is rarely stable. There's a term most people don't fully understand: currency debasement. It doesn't mean your money disappears overnight. It means it slowly loses its power. Quietly, consistently, until one day, you realize everything costs more, but your income hasn't changed. And here's what most textbooks don't tell you. Gold isn't rising because it's becoming more valuable. It's rising because the dollar is shrinking. And when that realization hits the public, it's already too late to react. During times like this, smart money doesn't panic. It repositions. It follows a simple structure, a survival framework. Think of it as a trinity. Physical sovereignty, gold and silver. Not digital, not paper. Physical, because real money isn't dependent on any system. 100 years ago, 1 ounce of gold could buy a high-quality suit. Today, it still can. That's not growth. That's preservation. Energy hedging. When energy becomes unstable, it also becomes opportunity. Certain sectors, especially long-term energy solutions, tend to benefit during these cycles. Because no matter what happens, the world still needs power. Strategic cash. And then, cash. Not as a long-term store of value, but as a tool. Because when panic hits, assets get sold off, prices drop, and those with liquidity are the ones who can move. But none of this matters if you act too late. This is where it becomes real. Not global, not theoretical, personal. Because every financial crisis comes down to one simple question: were you prepared or not? There's a cost to waiting, a cost to hesitation, a cost to thinking, I'll deal with it later. Someone who prepared early feels stability. Someone who waited feels pressure. So ask yourself, when the alarm goes off, do you want to be reacting or ready? History doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes. And right now, the rhythm of 2026 sounds very familiar. A system under pressure, confidence beginning to crack, and signals most people are ignoring. Don't wait for confirmation, because by the time it's obvious, it's already too late. The system doesn't warn you twice. It resets. The only question is, when it happens, will you be ready